welcome back to the AGP slot. In my last video I was trying to get UDMA enabled on Mandrake 9.0 and unfortunately I did not have much success. So what I ended up doing was swapping the VIA chipset motherboard for an Enforce 2 board, and then that gave me even more trouble with UDMA where it was even slower, plus I had to deal with a whole bunch of USB issues. Because of that, what I did was buy two different USB 2.0 controllers for PCI. One of them I showed in the video, and the other one I bought a little bit later. So the one was an NEC brand, which was supposed to be pretty good for Mandrake, and the other one was a VIA one, which I thought might actually work a little bit better because the old board was VIA. And I ended up having even more problems, which I did not release the video of because it was just me trying so many things and just failing over and over and over, so it really wasn't worth making a video out of. So yeah, I got the NEC, still had USB issues in 9.0, and in the unreleased video I tried basically everything to get it to work. I tried old Enforce drivers off NVIDIA's website, which you can't even get, so I had to use archive.org. Those didn't work, so I ended up trying the ones that were on the CDs. That also did not work. So that distro is just a little bit too old, and eventually I gave up and tried installing 9.1, and I also had issues there. So I got it installed on the second hard drive that's in the system. Basically had the same problem and could not get drivers onto the system because networking wasn't working, and then the floppy drive also didn't work, so I had to burn a CD. I had a whole bunch of problems with that as well. So yeah, I think 9.1, 9.0, we're just gonna have to skip them, unfortunately. I would love to check out 9.1, but unfortunately with the Enforce 2, just not going to happen. Now I could switch it back to the ECS board, but I really don't want to swap the boards again. This is the one that's supposed to be in there because it has dual channel memory and gigabit Ethernet. Plus, I mean, it's just NVIDIA. Like, who doesn't want an Enforce 2 chipset? That'd be so sick. So yeah, that's what we're sticking with for now. Now I also did a little bit more research on that Sound Blaster card that I have in there. I'm not sure if it's exactly a Sound Blaster Live, but it's some kind of extreme variant, which came out a little bit later, so that explains why it was not working at all with Mandrake, and I'll definitely have to swap it out for the actual Sound Blaster Live, because I know the drivers are in there, and I've used it in the past, so I know it works. And that card will have to probably just wait for like Windows or something when I get that installed on here. So anyway, you may have noticed there is a new setup here. It's just an old desk that I had, so I brought it down here along with some monitor arms and got everything set up. It's a lot nicer, a lot bigger, and actually I have two monitors on here, one which you can't see, and that's going to be like a recording station for this setup once I get DVI in here. Plus I'll be able to look things up a lot easier without having to use my Mac, set up like a persistent system as well, so I always have it down here to tinker around with. Anyway, what we're going to do today is install Mandrake Linux 9.2 off the official CDs that I bought a couple weeks ago. And yeah, we're just going to check it out, see what it came with, play around with a couple things, probably do Soldier of Fortune again, try and get that running. And I think that'll launch me into doing a lot more Mandrake Linux 9.2 videos. So I think 9.0 is officially done for now, and we're going to start off with 9.2 going forward. If you like these kind of videos with retro systems, give me a like and a subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, it's now the next day. Unfortunately, when I first went through this with the GeForce 2, I had so many problems. After I did the GPU swap from GeForce 2 to the GeForce 4, so many problems. The display was like constantly being zoomed in. I couldn't figure out how to fix it, so I reinstalled the driver a few times. It refused to make a proper X386 config, so then I couldn't even get into KDE anymore. And now we're back at the install because I'm just going to blow it out and reinstall. Kind of out of options with that, unfortunately. But what we do have in here now is the GeForce 4, and clearly it's working with the install process, which is great. And I swapped out that Sound Blaster Extreme card for the Sound Blaster Live, so we should have audio. And because we're on the GeForce 4 now, it has DVI, and I have this 4K DVI splitter thing, and we're now capturing directly out of the card, and we're also capturing audio straight out of the back of the Sound Blaster Live. Now unfortunately I won't be able to hear anything, so I don't know how it's going to sound, but I do have some speakers on the way, and eventually I'll probably just use them. Maybe I can like split something and like record both, go back and forth if I need to. Now we're just going to proceed with the Mandrake Linux 9.2 install. And when I did this last night, formatting the disk took forever, like 30 minutes at least. So yeah, definitely going to be skipping over that stuff. Now I do also have that NEC card in here for the USB 2.0, and I think we're going to have to use it for the installation phase. I don't know what exactly happened, but it's no longer working. I got this little USB KVM switch thing, and it's not working correctly. It's probably acting as like a hub, and Mandrake just doesn't like it. You know, whatever kernel this is, doesn't support it or something, so we're gonna try the NEC, and if not, just gonna have to plug everything directly in, which is really annoying, because I have the second system set up here just for like recording this stuff as like a permanent thing instead of just my Mac. It seems like it's gonna work really well, but only if I can switch back and forth super easy. I don't want to have like 2 keyboards, 2 mice, all that stuff. Just like to keep it as simplified as possible. Alright, well the hub is not working unfortunately, so I think we're just gonna install this, check it out, and then move on to Mandrake 10 in another video. Seems to be the theme with this board and Mandrake. Nothing really seems to work. It's like extremely picky about hardware, mainly because of that nVidia 2 chip. Probably didn't even get that great of support until Mandrake 10. I think that would work a lot better. Get off this 9.0 release cycle. But anyway, we're gonna install. So as you probably noticed, this looks a lot more modern compared to the first Mandrake 9.0. They upgraded to this theme in 9.1, which is what I had back in the day with my original CDs, which I wasn't allowed to install for some reason. So yeah, this is a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. The 9.0 installer was similar to the 8.0, and they just decided to swap it out, I guess, for this one. So we'll probably have to install NVIDIA drivers once this all gets done. Might mess around a little bit with the nVidia 2 stuff, so I made like a whole driver CD for that. Let's try and use the existing partition so we don't have to like reformat. I think that's correct. I guess we'll save the home. I mean, there's nothing on it, so hopefully this won't take as long. In the boot up, I saw it was running at 33 megahertz for IDE. That's basically as slow as you can go, so only getting like 2 megabytes per second on this disk, when it can definitely do more. And I know 9.2 does not include basically like any drivers, like any nVidia drivers, stuff like that, unless you had the power packs, which are like impossible to find. Like I've been saying, they don't exist on archive, and my Google searches return nothing for the power packs on 9.2 and 9.1. So what we have here is the Discovery Edition, which is very similar to the Download Edition. They just renamed it. Okay, yeah, you don't even get to choose what software you want to install. In the 9.1 Download Edition, you did get to choose what you wanted. So maybe there's like some difference in like what I downloaded for 9.2 and these actual like official Discovery Edition discs. It's probably not really worth looking into. I installed something on here that said like Download Edition in like one of the wallpapers on the desktop. I don't know if it's 9.1 or 9.2. Can't really remember. So what I'm kind of thinking is these 9.1 and 9.2 releases are like smaller updates to 9.0. At least that's what it feels like. But if they release power packs for these, then obviously you would get a lot more software. It would be like a major update, I think. And there is a way to like upgrade older versions to the newer Mandrake. So to me it seems like it's more of like a minor thing, and we're not really missing a whole lot skipping 9.1. And then obviously when we get to 10, which I also have the Discovery Edition of on like official discs, that'll be a huge change. I know that has like KDE 3.5 or something, and that's a pretty big update because this has 3.1, and there's some major like graphical changes which made it look a lot more modern. So I'm just gonna let this install, and then I'll be back when we get to hardware selection and stuff like that. Well, it does have some NVIDIA stuff on this disc. I don't know how well it's gonna work though. Alright, we got the Creative Labs Sound Blaster detected finally. And we don't have networking. Yeah, I don't even really want to try. Because if you don't have Enforce 2 drivers, then obviously that networking chip in there is not going to function. Okay, this whole thing is starting to lag out, so I'm going to quickly get through this. Finish the install. I believe these specific images on this boot up sequence are part of the Discovery Edition and not anything else. So I've never seen anything like that before. So I'm just assuming it's for Discovery. Because those logos are also on the CDs that I just used to install it. So pretty similar. Oh my, what is that? Never seen that before. I think that means we're gonna have to install drivers. Yeah. Okay, I'm assuming that's the KDE. Oh, you know what? On my recording, this looks fine, but it's totally messed up on the monitor. So something's not right. I think I might try and reset a couple of things with the splitter. So we might not be having capture. I could try and install the drivers, maybe that would fix something. Yeah, see, it's fine here, so it's something with like the resolution maybe. So what we're gonna do is install the NVIDIA drivers. Probably had to do that anyway. See if that driver fixed anything. Could be like a frequency issue. It's not coming through to the monitor correctly. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. It's working great on both now. And don't have any weird zoom issues. Now it is a bit small, unfortunately, so I could try and change the resolution, but I feel like it's gonna break everything. But we're gonna try it anyway, because 1024 comes up way better on the camera. That can't be 256 colors, there's no way. Oh, anyway. Log out, log back in. Okay, well that's looking better. Nice. Okay. Yeah, everything's working, that's good. So, what we're gonna do now is just see if that Sound Blaster Live is working. Oh my, what is going on here? K-Mix. So, volume control stuff. Why is it showing like everything imaginable? Oh, does it just go down here now? How do I know if we have sound? Play a game maybe? Oh, Tux Racer. Alright, we'll try Tux Racer first. Don't think sound's coming through. I have to play around with that a little bit, see if I can get it working. Okay, I just got done poking around with audio, and I have no clue how to tell if audio is working on the system or not. I'd probably have to find some like earbuds or headphones that would work, because whatever I'm doing to capture it doesn't seem to be working. So it's either sound card's not working correctly with Mandrake, or my capture setup doesn't work. Tried a whole bunch of things, could not figure it out, so we're just gonna continue for now. So let's poke around in Mandrake 9.2 and see what it has. So it has your basic administration stuff, and you can also burn CDs and floppies. I did look at this before for CD burning. It's K3B, which is still around today, but I don't know like how active it is. So this is version 0.9. I'm sure this would still work on this system, and I actually want to burn some CDs in the future. Want to make like a whole video of me just like burning all the Loki games, because I have them. So I think it'd be cool to like put them all on disc and then install a few of them and play them and stuff. So probably end up using this system to do that, which will be really cool. So as we already looked at, configure your computer. So this comes with basically every single version of Mandrake. It's like a little add-on that helps you easily manage your system. And even with Open Mandriva, they still give you a similar tool. Basically just like shortcuts to different programs and other tools to like simplify the administration of the system. So here we can look at all the hardware. So now we have the 4200 in here, like I've been saying. And we have the Sound Blaster Live, which I have no clue is working or not. I have tested it before and it does work, so it could be Mandrake or the way I'm capturing it, I have no idea. And then we don't have a proper IDE driver, so we're stuck with that slow 33 megahertz. I am going to try installing Enforce on this, but that'll be probably at the end, because it might brick the whole system. You really don't want to mess with that. I've been poking around trying to get it to work. I could never figure it out on 9.0. So we'll try again on 9.2. Okay, and here is the NEC that's being detected. And we're not using it right now because for some reason the Enforce 2 USB works properly on this copy of Mandrake. Could not get it to work on 9.0 or 9.1. So Mandrake did have pretty good TV support with like a TV tuner card, which I actually had back then, and it was pretty awesome. I always wanted to be able to record, but I could never figure out how, so yeah, I would just watch live TV on Mandrake and also on Windows. It was pretty cool because you could put like TV up in like a little corner in a box, like picture in picture, and then I'd also have like the video game I was playing or web browsing or whatever. So you could watch TV while doing whatever you wanted. It was pretty cool. I had the AverMedia TV tuner, just analog, and then eventually I upgraded to like a Hauppauge, and that allowed me to see like digital TV. And the quality on that was pretty solid, at least with like over-the-air stuff. But yeah, we never had like HD, like cable cards or whatever, because by then, like, I mean, cable just kind of sucked. Everything moved to streaming. But it was pretty sick being able to use that. And then TV tuners just kind of phased out after a while. Now if you're using a TV tuner these days, you're probably hooking up to like Plex, and then you can watch it anywhere in your entire house, which is pretty sick. I actually wouldn't mind checking that out, like have a TV tuner and a server, and then just have like an antenna hooked up to it, and stream that, like one specific channel probably, through Plex to all of the TVs in the house. And other PCs as well. That'd be so cool. So maybe one day I can check that out. Yeah, see, they put everything in like a little simple user interface, so it's a lot easier to use. I need Sama client. Well, we don't even have networking, so I'm not gonna bother. Firewall. Oh, they even have like a periodic checker, like open ports and stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh, run ch rootkit. Nice. I wonder if it would give you like a little tray pop-up if something was wrong. Yeah, I never used that. I mean, who was hacking like Linux desktops back in the day? I mean, that's like a very unlikely scenario. Okay, so I guess they sold like a firewall security product. Okay, I need networking, so we're not gonna do that. Check out services. Yeah, basically the same as 9.0 when I was messing around with like ProFTPD and stuff. Drac backup. Yeah, everything was named like Hard Drake or Drac or something like that. Okay, what to back up? System. Okay, that's cool. And then you select the users. It probably just runs like rsync in the background. Backup, ignore. So I've never heard of that. I don't know if it is rsync or not. Kind of want to look that up real quick. Okay, seems like it was just rsync and tar and other Linux utilities or Unix utilities. And then this whole interface here is just to automate it, which is pretty cool. So you get like built-in backup software. And then your typical RPM Drake. Yeah, same as 9.0 here. Not too much of a difference, I feel. Check out some wallpapers real quick. Okay, these are just the ones that you have to like tile. Circuit board. I think some of these were in 9.0. Probably most of them, to be honest. Triple gears. That's what I was using before. We'll go with this one. Definitely my favorite. Let's see what else we have in here. Let's try the floppy formatter. Well, we can't really try it because I don't have a working floppy drive, unfortunately. Yeah, but this is pretty similar to the Windows version. Except you can format with ext2. That's pretty cool. Don't think I've ever done that. I've always done FAT. Yeah, simple little utility. Configure your desktop. It's probably just the normal. Oh, okay. This is like the KDE control panel. Alright. So this is just whatever KDE had back then with KDE 3.1. Oh, alright. So this EMU 10K1 or whatever, That's for the sound card, and it's sharing an interrupt with some USB controller. Could be onboard or the NEC that I have in there. I mean, that could explain why some stuff isn't working if it's being shared like that. Just LSPCI basically. Check out sound. Like, it has the driver and it's being detected, so I'll have to mess around with that some more later. X server. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Not seeing a whole lot of changes other than like the title bar here is a bit different. The icons down here are a little more modern, but for the most part it is about the same as 9.0, which makes me think it's just like a minor update. So let's see what this program is. Yeah, I kind of remember using this. Listen to music files, so this will be on your disk. Oh, this is a GNOME tool? Huh. Yeah, you can always tell because of the icons. Watch videos. Oh, it just opens the same program? Okay. Yeah, these are just like shortcuts. Because it doesn't even list like the program name. Rip a CD. Very basic CD ripper. I doubt it would be able to pull any like actual metadata info like the track names and album stuff. Because you probably need like a web service for that. And it came with a few games. I believe I already went through like all of these on the 9.0 release video. So I already tried Tux Racer for the sound. Wasn't really working. Yeah, just your user guide stuff. Okay, so it looks like what they did is they replaced a lot of like the program names with like easy to understand like shortcuts. So like create a text document, this is just gonna open like OpenOffice or something. And it's Java based, so it's gonna take like 10 minutes to load. And it's taking so long because of that 2 megabytes per second like read and write speed. Yeah, it works. Pretty close to Microsoft Office from back then. Or like more like Office 97. Which I also used to use. Stick notes, Keynote. This is still around, I believe. Just little sticky notes you can put on your desktop. Can you resize it? I'm struggling here. Yeah, you can resize it. Cool. Yeah, never use those. Just seem kind of weird to like put notes up on your desktop like that. Maybe if you had like a to-do list, keep track of things. But you can't really do it on GNOME because you always have like a main application running somewhere. So you don't really ever see your desktop. Ah, chat using AIM. So this probably just means game. Yep. Didn't really like using this software back then because it was missing so many features from the actual AIM release. It just felt so dated. But when I was using it, I didn't even know how to update the system. I didn't know that was even possible. I knew you could install software, but I didn't know you could update it. XChat. Well, we don't have networking, so no point in really trying, but yeah. GNOME app, possibly? Or at least GTK. But yeah, but that software would still be functional. IRC, I don't think really changed. Create web pages, okay. I don't even know how to say that. Oh, Quanta. Oh, I looked at this on 9.0. Yeah. Yeah, nobody really does stuff like this anymore. I don't think anyone really uses like Dreamweaver. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Dreamweaver is what I'm thinking of. I always wanted to use that, but I feel like really all it did was like syntax highlighting and like a little bit of autocomplete, so not that great. And now we have like way better tools like VS Code and Zed, Sublime Text. But this is before all that. Dialogue using video conference. What program is this gonna be? Okay, Druid. GNOME meeting. Ah, LDAP, of course. This reminds me of like Yahoo Messenger. Like a really old version of Yahoo Messenger or something like that. Maybe there was something older than that. Maybe like MSN Messenger had it, where you could do like super low bitrate video calls over like 56K modems. Can't remember what the software was called. And this looks like something similar. Problem is, I didn't know anyone else running Linux at the time, so even if I had that set up and working, would not have been able to use it with anybody. News groups. Okay. Probably still works today, because aren't news groups mostly just text? Take a screenshot. Yep. GIMP. It's definitely GIMP. Yep. Where's the brush tool? Pencil. Maybe. Yeah, I don't use GIMP very much. Or any photo editing stuff. I do very basic things with it. Oh, that's GIMP. FL photo? I guess you can like organize your photos with this. I've never heard of this or used it. I'm not sure if it's around anymore. OCR. Okay, just a KDE scanning tool. Nice. So you definitely got like a lot of good software that you would need to have on a system back then, like scanning tools, photo editing, game, web browsing, stuff like that. Ripping CDs, you know. Remember you have to like buy CD ripping tools like Nero and stuff like that when you can just like do all that for free right here and it works. So yeah, not a whole lot of software to look at. Definitely a lot less than the Power Pack. I mean, that thing installed so many games, like probably spent at least like 30 minutes to an hour like testing each one, going through it. I still didn't hit all of them. I'm sure there's still more on the disk that I missed too. And your basic email client reminds me of Outlook Express, which was free from Microsoft, at least on XP. I think it came with like IE6 or something. Well, that was the first look at Mandrake Linux 9.2, and now what I'm going to do is get Soldier Fortune 1 installed on here and just try it out with the GeForce 4 because I've never used it with any games. So we're going to see if it's a little bit faster to use with that game, because I tried it with GeForce 2 and it was struggling at 1600 by 1200. This should be able to do it pretty easily. So we're going to get that installed now. I think I have to run it as root, otherwise I can't really install it. I could put it on like my own like home folder, but yeah, we'll just run it as root. I'm always impressed by how well this installer tool here actually like works. Like even 10 years ago when I was using Arch, this program still worked. But of course I had issues actually running the game. So I had to use like Pad SP or something to get OSS support to work for like audio and stuff. But yeah, this still worked when I tried it last. And unfortunately now all the distros are moving away from the 386 binaries. So that broke compatibility with all the Loki games. And I'm not sure if there's really a way to work around that. Maybe you could do some weird thing with Docker, I don't know. On my own desktop I can't even run this because Red Hat 10 doesn't ship any i386 like compatibility binaries to run old software like this. So eventually none of this stuff's gonna work anymore on newer systems. Not that anybody's actually like playing this anymore, I guess. Okay, we're installed. Let's just play. Ooh, yeah, I'm running as root. That's not a good idea. Okay, I should be able to just run SOF. And it should work. Nice. Oh, gotta do CD key. What we're gonna do is increase the resolution. Oops. Oh. Not sure if that's working right. I feel like it's just gonna break my whole desktop. Yeah, if you don't want the capture, I can't see what's going on, so you have to kill it. So what we're gonna do then is just go back to 1600 by 1200 on the desktop here, so we can get proper resolution on there. Did it make any shortcuts for it, I wonder? That's kind of a bummer. No desktop shortcut or anything in this KDE menu. So you gotta run through the terminal. It might already be running at 1600 by 1200. Might have saved it, I don't know. Yep, alright. Well, let's see what the performance is like. I did use this card to play this game back then, and I do remember it running pretty well at 1280 by 1024. So this is a little bit higher resolution. but I think it should be able to do it pretty well. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. With the GeForce 2, we were not hitting these frame rates. It felt like it was 15 to 20 FPS. Oh yeah, this is way smoother. My little mini PC is struggling to record this footage at 60 FPS. I guess because the encoder has to encode more frames. When you're at the desktop, you're not really doing much. So this card is a massive upgrade over that GeForce 2, and obviously I'm going to stick with this now because this is very period correct and the same card that I had, obviously, from back then. Alright, well that about wraps it up. So Mandrake 9.2 definitely has better support for this Enforce 2 chipset. Unfortunately, still a lot of things that are just not working, so next video will probably be installing Mandrake 10, trying that out. And of course we have 10.1, and then I believe that's when it switched over to Mandriva. I think 2005 maybe, so then we'll be checking that out later. So yeah, final thoughts on 9.2. Not nearly as much software as 9.0, and unfortunately can't get my hands on the power packs. I would love to see like how much more software you actually got, or maybe this was actually like just like a small incremental update type of thing. I feel like there's not too much left to do with this distro here, so that's why when I get to 10.0 along with the better Enforce support, I definitely prefer 9.0, I think, just because it came with so much more stuff and the GeForce 2 basically worked out of the box. So with that other ECS via chipset board, I would definitely rather use that, I think, again because of the software. Actually, one final thing I want to do is try the Enforce 2 RPMs that I have. So maybe they'll install something like the IDE stuff, because that would give me a little bit more of a chance to use 9.2, because it's just way too slow with that 2 megabyte per second write speed. Cannot deal with that. If I want to compile the kernel or something, it's just not going to happen. It would take forever, even on this slow CPU. Obviously that's going to be slow, but with even slower disk speed, it's going to take like 10 times longer. So I'm going to try the Enforce drivers really quick, and then we'll finally wrap it up. Alright, I've got my RPM CD-ROM in there. I'm going to see if one of these will work. So here's 9.2. We're just going to try that. My caps lock key keeps turning on, that's why it's not working. 0 megabytes, alright, sure. So I feel like these should have IDE drivers, audio, like everything, but last time it like only had USB when I was testing with, I think it was 9.1. I just could not get anything to work. Alright, that's installed. We're just gonna reboot. Press to load new drivers and stuff. And we'll see if it changed anything with like Heartdrake or whatever. Alright, let's check out the hardware list, see if it can detect anything different. I'm going to assume that nothing worked. And I don't feel like testing out the other like run files. Oh, do we have an Ethernet card now? I don't think it has a driver. So it knows it's there, but no driver. No IDE driver. So yeah, I don't really think those RPMs actually do anything useful. It's really weird. You'd think you would just install it and then you just have drivers now, but no. So I guess I'm gonna do, I guess I'll try the run files anyway. So I really want to know if they're gonna do something useful. Kinda doubt it though. So we'll try this latest one here. Alright, network and audio driver. For some reason that older driver has like an integrity failure. I don't know why. Probably got corrupted by archive.org or something. So I'll see if this does anything. Reboot, maybe we'll have networking. Yeah, see, I had the same problem when I tried this earlier. Kernel source RPM. Well, I can try it. Get that installed, maybe it'll be able to compile stuff. That's weird. It should have one of those packages. See if we can find it in here. It should come with the headers at least. Alright, what do we got? NVIDIA kernel. What is this for? Is this for like some NVIDIA chip that they're working on, or is that like actual like graphics drivers or something? I don't know. But either way, the kernel headers or kernel source is not in here, which is kind of an issue, which means we wouldn't be able to get networking to work, and possibly only the audio would work. So yeah, I'm not going to dig into that any further. It's just going to be impossible to get it to work right. So anyway, final thoughts on Mandrake 9.2. It kind of feels like this distro is like incomplete and missing software, because 9.0 just had so much stuff and you were getting like everything and like proprietary software too. So it just feels like a little incomplete to me. Still totally functional if you just wanted Linux on your desktop and a really easy experience, at least in like 2004. And the bottom line seems to be, don't ever use an Enforce board or NVIDIA chipset with Linux on an old distro like this. And I'm sure it's just as bad on newer stuff too. Like when we get to Mandriva, it's probably still gonna have some weird problems. So if you enjoyed this video, take a look at Mandrake 9.2, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and obviously subscribe. Next video, probably take a look at Mandrake 10. Hopefully we'll have some better Enforce support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.